You ever wonder why you're always busy but still broke? It's not the big things, it's the thousand little mistakes with your time. And let me show you where it all goes wrong. I used to waste my time on the small distractions until I learned something from Sam Ovens, which is how to manage my time differently. And today I'm going to show you a little tweak to the 100 units of time concept to maximize your time for building wealth so you can finally focus on what makes you more money. My name is Dean the Wealth Coach, and I help overworked 9 to 5 workers and people that are juggling multiple jobs build a business so that they can achieve financial freedom and retire early. What my life looks like. This is me and all the activities I do. With me doing all this, it just became a lot for me. But this is how many people are trying to build wealth. And you cannot build wealth by trying to do all these things at once. Yes, you can have the luxury of all these things, but you got to prioritize these things. One lesson that I learned is wealth can't be built by trying to have all these things at once. It takes you a very long time to achieve wealth. But if you focused on one thing and one thing only, it makes it much easier to get to your end goal of being able to just be financially free, having passive income, whatever it may be, right? But everybody thinks, okay, I gotta work, I gotta have a side hustle, I gotta be doing this business, I gotta be doing that business, I gotta be selling stocks or into the stock market, all these things, right? But in actuality, it's literally making your path much longer to get to. So one thing I want to show you guys. Oh, I don't want to do that. So let me move this down a bit. This is how your focus should be. One thing. One thing at a time. There's a saying that goes, I can do anything, but I can't do everything. And a lot of people think that they need to do all this stuff in order to be successful. But it's the actual opposite. You got to do one thing first. When you do the one thing and you master it, then you can move on to the next thing. Master one thing, get really good at it. Think of yourself like Batman. He has this little thing right here called a utility belt. That's how you need to think of how you're going to be building your wealth. One thing at a time. Once you master it or it's doing well for you, then you can move on to the next thing. Many people think, or saying, oh, I got to go work at this job. I'm working 40 hours a week. I'm trying to buy this house and do whatever. You're doing too much. You're burning yourself out. When you continuously do those things over and over again, it becomes your new norm. And that's not a good thing, because if you have a family and you're working 80 hours a week, you're barely spending time with them. You're literally coming home, sleep, take a shower, done. And then you're back out there again. What's the whole purpose of that, right? The best way to achieve your financial or to achieve financial freedom is through a business. A business has so many benefits, because the great thing about a business, when you make money, the government doesn't tax you first. Government gets their cut last. It's the money you make, your expenses, whatever's left over, then you pay taxes. Whereas an employee, the money you make, the government gets their cut, then you get your money, which sucks, right? Plus, the more money you make as an individual, the higher you pay in taxes. But with a business, because there's so many different ways to use um, the tax, um, the tax act in your favor, you can reduce how much taxes you pay. Like the billionaires, some millionaires, they know how to play the game, so they end up paying less to nothing, sometimes nothing, because they understand the rules of money. If you want to understand the rules of money, learn accounting. That is the best way to minimize how much you pay in taxes. So going through this whole thing with how you use your time, you have to really reflect on how you're using your time on a daily basis. From the moment you wake up to the time you rest your head, and really say to myself, okay, based on, so what you need to do is track your time. Like track it for a week. You'll be so amazed how much time you actually waste. And with the 100 units of wealth, it will help you say to yourself, you know what, I'm wasting too much time here. Let me focus it somewhere here. Like if you have a Netflix account and a new show comes out, like Umbrella Academy, Supercell, Bridgerton, any of those shows. That's at least 6, 7 hours you're dedicating to watch these shows. 6, 7 hours of focused productivity on one thing would amass to can amass to so much for you in the future. But you're not looking that far ahead of how much or how valuable your time is in the future of what you do today. So, for example, instead of watching 7 hours of Bridgerton, you decide to DM people about an offer that you have, and the offer that you have is $2,000. Imagine getting one person to say yes to your offer. While watching Bridgerton, you're making absolutely no money. But you being in people's DMs and you net $2,000, wouldn't that make more sense to be doing that opposed to watching Bridgerton? Bridgerton will always be there. You need to be able to focus your time on something that's going to generate you money. Think of the long-term vision. I want to retire by X age. Did you know that you can actually retire anywhere between 5 to 7 years, maybe even less if you just focused on running a business? The great thing about running a business, you can control everything that happens in it. You can control the price. So let's say whatever you're selling, let's say you're selling an ebook. It's $10 today, and tomorrow you say, I'm selling it for $20. You can control the price. Once you have people that have purchased from you before, you can always sell to those people again. You have an email list, you blast them on, be like, hey, I got this product for sale. You built rapport with them, so they trust you, they like you, so they buy from you again, right? Then you get new customers. You get new customers by running ads, creating content, letting people know, referrals, whatever it may be, right? But those three things you can control. You can't control the way the housing market's gonna go. A lot of people bought during COVID and prices were shooting up, and then COVID really kicked in and prices started shooting down. People are losing their shirts with real estate. Mind you, real estate is a great investment, but just for the purpose of illustration, you cannot control the price of real estate. Same thing with the stock market. Stocks will go up and down. You cannot control when stocks go up or when they go down. But in a business, you can control all these things. If something's not working, you can fix it. Stock market, real estate, you can't do those things. And that's why building a business is the best way to build your wealth. Literally, if you just literally put 4 to 5 hours a day minimum, at minimum, within 5 years, you will be able to become financially free. And what does financially free look like? Financially free is figuring out how much money you need in the future so that you can retire early. And there's a formula that's called, I call it what's your freedom number, right? And I'll give you guys a little insight to my freedom number calculator. Here's the formula on how to achieve your financial freedom number. Many people, when they start a business or just work in general, they conform to the retirement age of 65. 65 is a long time. Life expectancy in Canada is 82. That's only 17 years of your life you get to enjoy. But you've been working the majority of your life just for 17 years. That's an absolutely bad trade-off. You should be saying, I want to retire in the next 5 years. Doesn't matter what age you're at, next 5 years, I'm retiring. And you can literally do that by understanding where your end goal is, how much money you need to survive. Depending on government assistance, ain't cutting it. So this formula here is something that you can use within your business, so this formula here is something that you can use to help you figure out the amount of money that you need to retire and live comfortably. So the first thing you need to do is figure out what your lifestyle and your monthly allowance, your lifestyle cost and your monthly allowance would be. Your lifestyle cost and your monthly allowance is the combination of all the things that you desire to have, and then your monthly cost or your monthly allowance is just like your day-to-day living expenses, your necessities, right? So let's say that number here is like $10,000. See if I can right here. So $10,000, right? That's 10K. That is how much you would need on a monthly basis. So now if you take that net living to your gross living cost to figure out your net living cost, it would be roughly about $17,000. $17,000. Now you're probably saying, that's a lot of money. You need to see what the numbers are to make it real. Because if you don't know where you're going, you will never get there. It's just like a GPS. A GPS works the exact same way. You have to punch in the destination. This number, the amount of money you need is your destination. You need to know where you're going. If you want to go to Disneyland, you're going to put it in the GPS and it will tell you how to get there. But if you try to figure it out on your own, it's going to take you a very long time to figure it out. So once you have your gross and your net living costs, you need to figure out your money system target. Your money system target is your end goal. I should probably change that to like end goal number. So if you take the 17K and you divide that by 0.05, which is 5%, you get about $4 million. That's how much you need to retire. You're like, whoa, that's a big number. But imagine running a business that's making that type of money to help you fund $4 million, opposed to you working a job for 40 years for them to say, okay, you can retire now, and then you're still struggling, and then you have to end up becoming a Walmart greeter. Nothing against Walmart greeters, but doing something. Why do you want to be working when you're retired? You're supposed to be enjoying life. I think you should be enjoying life way before that, because 65 is way too long for people to be retiring. So now you have the $4 million, right? With the $4 million, your business system, your business target system. How much money does my business need to be generating to help me fund my life, fund my money system, and pay taxes? So you take your gross living as 10K, and then you multiply by 5, that's 50K. So now you have 50K coming in. 50K, so of that 50K, 20K is going to taxes, 20K is going to your money system, and then 10K is going to your lifestyle. The math works out for you, right? So now because the math works out, you're paying the government won't bother you. You're funding your money system, it's growing. And also you still have the lifestyle that you're desiring to have right now, instead of waiting till you're 65 to enjoy that life. Once you have that $4 million, you know what you can do with that business? Because that business is generating money, you can do one of two things. You can pass it on to the next generation, depending on your age, or you can sell the business and add to that money system and go do whatever you want. The great thing about a business is they have industry averages, how much people are willing to pay for business. So if you have a business that's thriving and rising, people will pay money for it, because they say, hey, like, look at all the big companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Apple. These guys acquire little companies and just add them to their portfolio. They just eliminate their competition. So let's say you're making 100,000 a year, and let's say your multiplier is 14. 100,000 times 14 is $1.4 million. So your exit now is $1.4 million from that business. You add that to your money system, you're laughing at that point, right? So let's bring it back to the example that I was saying earlier about how you're using your time. Because if you're not using your time wisely, guess what? You're going to be just continuously doing all these things over and over again. You need to focus on one thing. When you focus on one thing and you master it, you will literally be able to have anything that you want in life. And the one thing that you need to focus on is building a business. Now, if you're saying, what type of business do I start? I don't know what to start. I don't know what to talk to people. You're in luck. I created a group called the Wealth Builders Academy, and I left the link down below that you can join for free, and you can learn how to build an online business to help you retire and become financially independent within 5 years. That is the promise I'm making to you. If you stick to the plan will work. Work the plan and the plan will work itself. They also say to fail to plan is to plan to fail. So, by that being said, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. My name is Dean the Wealth Coach, and I'll see you on the next video.